Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3901. Today's date is February 21, 2026. It's been almost like exactly 10:03 p.m. All right, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. Okay, the question is, when in my life did luck help me financially more than my effort? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is question is actually kind of like only like a couple of weeks ago. I completed the Psychology of Money. This book is actually written by the Morgan House. Okay, very beautiful book. They kind of like a talk about so many stuff regarding about finance and things and that and that. I read that book and I think that if I want to implement the whatever the stuff that written in that book, I have to be ask question to myself. How do I supposed to ask? So basically, what I did is that I went to ChatGPT, kind of like somebody asked me that key, suggest me almost like a 20 question so that I would understand this Psychology of Money book more, so that I would supposed to be implement and that and that. Okay, so ChatGPT kind of like giving me almost like a 20 question, and this is second question. Now, why are you kind of like asking this question to yourself? I think that na ki uh like sometimes na there is no reason why I'm doing this thing. Like I already have kind of like so many reason that I would supposed to be tell that ki I want to implement, I want to act, I want to add information and things and that and that. Yeah, these are kind of like a stuff. Okay, yeah, but I realize that na ki when I ask such question to myself, I would aware more of myself. I would aware more about my decision or the future decision that I will gonna take. So it is really essential for me to kind of like actually do some homework and things like that. Asking this question is kind of like that homework. So yeah. Now regarding about the question says that when does in my life did luck help me financially more than my effort? Okay, now regarding about this question, well, did luck kind of like a put you any kind of like a somebody like kind of like a, did any kind of like advantage? Well, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah, like my luck is one of the worst luck I would supposed to be say. Like I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. Okay, yeah, but I think that na ki I am not believe in luck, or maybe I believe. I'm not really sure about that thing. Like basically, what is exactly luck? Okay, let's just understand what is exactly luck. So luck means like that ki some happened magically without even understanding it. Like let's just say that ki you fell from building accidentally. Okay, yeah, but somehow you kind of like simply drop under the swimming pool. Like basically is this thing, if you fall from the building you have to be die, right? But because of you fall in the kind of like a swimming pool, it considered as a luck, right? So like basically obviously you fall in the swimming pool, you might get little bit hurt. Okay, yeah, because if you fall from the building, the water kind of like a became concrete from that height. But still is this thing, it depends on kind of like a, how you approach the water. Okay, things and that, but somehow I don't know, but you didn't really I don't know. Okay, like if I kind of like went into the kind of like a scientific point of perspective, then obviously if you kind of like a whatever the water surface, if you fall almost like a 200 feet or 300 feet above, then probably you might not survive even if the water. Why? Because in that particular height the water acts like concrete. Okay, yeah, literally, and you will kind of like a shattered, literally, whatever the kind of like a shape you think. Like if you think that ki I would kind of like a put my leg straight and kind of like a simply enter in the water like a penetration, but that is not. You are kind of like somebody is this thing na ki when you fall down, your legs are kind of like a very like it cannot be strong. Like you have to be like in the air. How should you supposed to be control your body? You cannot move your body, you cannot do anything because there is no reaction at all. There is no like basically this thing. How do we supposed to walk is because of we are getting resistance from the gravity, the surface and things, and that's why we could supposed to walk. That's why we should supposed to be turn and things like that. In mid-air, how do you supposed to do this thing? There is no resistance at all. Okay, there is just a air, and it's a very difficult to move your body in the air mid-air. You can do this thing by kind of like somebody try to do very practical approach of kind of like somebody falling down and things and that, but still it takes kind of like so much amount of years of experience and things and that. And if I'm trying to say this thing 200 feet above, then that's like a very difficult to do this thing. But still, okay, yeah, it's not really possible, but still if we are not gonna talk about that, it's like whatever. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key luck. Okay, yeah, you kind of like a fall in swimming pool and you might get survive. Okay, yeah, so that is called kind of like a luck. But is it? Well, it's not. Or is it? Like that is kind of like a thing. There are two kind of like a people who kind of like a thing that she kind of like a survive is because of luck. Am I that particular person who kind of like a thing like that? No. I think that probably she kind of like a fell down. She didn't really know there is a swimming pool. Okay, yeah. So probably is this thing. Now it's not a kind of like a simply luck. It's a kind of like a simply is this thing that all the factors are kind of like a came together, and that's why she kind of like a survive and things like that. Probably. Okay, yeah. But still, is this thing luck is a kind of like a hypothetical scenario that people kind of like a thing that okay. Like there is a kind of like a one moment that I kind of like a remember. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, so what exactly happened that I was kind of like somebody is driving my bike. Okay, yeah. So something happened. I'm not really sure exactly what exactly happened, but something happened and I hit the brake. Okay, yeah. And there is a big accident. If I didn't put the brake, I might gonna kind of like somebody that hurt or get something like that. Okay, yeah. I don't know how to supposed to explain what exactly happened on that time. Okay, so maybe it actually happened with everybody. I'm not really sure about you. Okay, but what I experienced at that time, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, yeah. I'm actually kind of like somebody on my bike, driving my bike to going somewhere. Okay, yeah. Something happened. Okay, and there is a kind of like a collision should supposed to be happen, like something like a car or I don't know. I'm kind of like a forget things like that. Okay, yeah. What exactly is this thing? But if I didn't really apply the brake, I will definitely gonna die or things like that, because die not, but probably I will gonna get a lot of hurt. Okay, when I see that particular danger, like this is a kind of like a danger and I have to be act very rapidly, there is something electric actually happen inside of me, and I just hit the brake so rapidly, I just can't even literally like all my organs and everything are kind of like act like just electric. Every movement is just so fast, so rapid, just like wow. Like this kind of like a reflex, I never really felt like that. Like I apply both like a back and front, both the brake at the same time. And these are kind of like things happen so fast that, oh my God, I just feel like that superhero kind of like stuff. Yeah. So basically what I realized that so am I survive or am I kind of like it didn't really happen that accident is because of that kind of like something that luck. I don't know. I am still not really sure. Okay, because luck is a kind of like a thing that probably I think that it's a kind of like a very lucky, but sometimes it's just not, because it's just so like so vague, so unpredictable. There are so many things are actually involved and that it's just lot of stuff. Whatever. So basically this thing, luck. Okay, do you understand luck? Okay, yeah. Now financially lucky. Financial lucky means what? Okay, the question actually says this thing, does any kind of like a financial lucky thing actually happen? Like did luck help you financially and things like that? Financially luck. Well, when I was kind of like doing my job, I started investing money on SIP. Okay, yeah. I kind of like somebody started, yeah, SIP for almost like maybe 1,000 rupees. Yeah, 1,000 rupees per month. Okay. Um, but I didn't really mature enough. Like I never really kind of like complete that SIP. Like I thought that I would kind of like make sure that SIP should supposed to be stay for at least like a year and things like that. But I didn't really complete that year. Okay, yeah. I kind of like withdraw all my money within like a between year, and basically it's not fixed SIP. Okay, yeah. You can withdraw. Okay, yeah. So did I get any kind of like a profit? Not really. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna say a financial luck, probably. So I might gonna say, okay, so from last month, I'm actually kind of like investing money on gold. Okay, yeah. 10 rupees every single day. Let me give you kind of like a things. Okay, yeah. So till now, wait, let me where it is. Okay, yeah. So I am kind of like a somebody like a 10. Okay, what is at least this thing? Okay, yeah. So I'm using Phone Pay. Okay, yeah. Phone Pay is a kind of like a somebody application. Okay, and basically is this thing that you can invest money on gold. Okay, yeah. Gold, legit gold, but it's a digital gold. Okay, it's not kind of like somebody is this thing that they will kind of like give you gold and things like that. They will give you gold. Okay, they will kind of like give you gold coin when you kind of like have all the kind of like somebody that key, all the kind of like somebody money that you invested, which is kind of like a resonate that 10 gram of gold and things like that. Then probably you're gonna get things like that. Whatever. Okay, yeah. But first of all is that these money are kind of like a very much special for me. Okay, yeah. So what is at least this thing? I can invest 10 rupees per day. 10 rupees per day. Okay, yeah. So I started investing on this gold, digital gold. Okay, yeah. And every day 10 rupees actually cut off from my account, and which is kind of like invested in gold. Okay, yeah. Till now I started doing this for almost like a 279 days. Okay, yeah. And I kind of like somebody invested my principal amount is that 3,970. Okay, these are kind of like somebody amount that I invested. Okay, yeah. Now how much money do I have at the moment? Okay, yeah. So at the moment I have 2,151. What? Like you actually invested 3,000 rupees, and how do you have just 2,100? Well, what has actually happened that like a couple of months ago, probably 6 months ago, I kind of like simply withdraw 1,000 rupees from this gold. Okay, why? Because basically it's this thing na I realized that it's not really good. Why is not really good? Because of that gold is a kind of like a commodity where it will not gonna improve. Like it will not gonna kind of like somebody the profit will not gonna get very easily from the gold. Why? Because gold is a kind of like a very stagnant. Okay, yeah. Like gold is not, it's like basically there is no company who kind of like giving a lot of profit, then from the profit kind of like investor actually earn money. No, gold is a kind of like a commodity. Okay, yeah. And basically the value of the gold is kind of like a depend by the supply and things and that and lots of things. Okay, yeah. So basically value of the gold will increase slowly. Okay, yeah. Like if you kind of like invest money on SIP or FD, FD also, but SIP, if you kind of like invest money on SIP, then SIP fund manager kind of like invest your money on kind of like such a company who's kind of like giving the profit or things and that. Okay, yeah. And which kind of like get little bit high returns. Okay, but in gold, you will not gonna get that much return probably. Like it's like from my point of perspective. Okay, yeah. Like you just think that like you have to be kind of like, if you want to decide that you have to invest money on gold, then probably is this thing that invest for long term period of time, like probably 20 year. Then after that you might gonna get kind of like a very good result and things like that. Okay, yeah. But I didn't really invest money on this gold for investing. It's not. Okay, yeah. So basically this thing, I invest this 10 rupees gold every single day is not for the investing, is for my backup. Okay, backup for what? Like basically I am not earning any money. Okay, yeah. And there are so many situations actually happened that ki I don't really have any kind of like a money to something. Okay, yeah. It actually happened. Yeah, I don't really have any kind of money, and I kind of like hesitate to ask money to my parents and things like that. So basically this is saying that ki whenever I will get kind of like a 500 rupees from my parents or things like that, I kind of like suddenly spend that kind of like a 10 rupees on this gold. Okay, so whenever I need it, I make sure like basically this thing, my expenses are kind of like a very less. Like what are the kind of like expenses do I have is petrol. Okay, like basically I do workout, and for the workout I go to the kind of like a stadium, so I kind of like take my bike. So kind of like simply I spend money on fuel. Okay, yeah. And also my bike have a really good average, so I don't really like, it's not really required that much amount of fuel to things like that. But whatever, I kind of like basically 500 rupees, 500 or 1000 rupees is kind of like I would handle everything. Like basically there is no kind of like, if there is emergency situation I would ask money, but 1000 rupees is kind of like a good enough. Okay, but still is this thing that ki I realize that ki at some certain situation I might not have any kind of like some money. Okay, or I don't really realize, like basically I'm belong to the India, okay, and we have a UPI network. Okay, yeah, UPI means phone pay, Paytm, things like that. So basically we don't really carry the money all the time. We all have money on our phone. Okay, yeah, like a kind of like a bank is actually connected. Like there is a lot of stuff about UPI, you just kind of like a search about this thing. So we just kind of like somebody scan the QR code and kind of like send the money to the merchant and things like that. Okay, yeah. So basically I realized that ki sometime I don't really have any money and things like that. So I decided to started investing 10 rupees on gold. Okay, yeah, so that whenever the situation came I don't really have any money, which is almost every single time. Okay, yeah. So I kind of like somebody that could take this, like if I kind of like went to the like lassi wala, or I wanted to eat the vada pav or things like that, and I don't really have any money, emergency situation, then I would kind of like withdraw that money from the gold. Okay, yeah, and kind of like give it then. Why are you kind of like doing this thing? Why are you not kind of like investing money on gold? Like basically it's a really good thing, na? Well, probably is this thing, na? If I kind of like do the calculation, okay, yeah. So let me tell you the calculation. Okay, so I'm kind of like investing money 10 rupees per day. Let's just say 30 days. That means 300 rupees per month. Okay, yeah. Now 300 rupees per month is not really big number. Okay, yeah. And if I started almost like a 300 rupees per month, I will not gonna get higher returns. Definitely not. Why? Because it's just 300 rupees per month. Okay, yeah, and that is not really a kind of like a things. Okay, yeah. And like if I want to higher return, then obviously is this thing that I have to kind of like spend little bit, at least like a 1000 rupees per month, or maybe for a longer period of time, then I might gonna get kind of like some higher return and things like that. But my purpose is not to get the higher returns. My purpose is to kind of like simply back up that whenever I need it, I will kind of like withdraw that money. Okay, yeah, from the gold. Okay, from that gold saving, and kind of like give the money to the merchant, and kind of like simply is this thing. It's kind of like simply for the backup. Like I kind of like make sure that it's a kind of like backup and things like that. Okay, yeah. So right now, okay, yeah, like basically is this thing. Till now I kind of like have almost like a 2151 rupees, and almost like a 373 rupees I'm in profit. Okay, yeah. So which is really good. Okay, yeah. So it's kind of like something okay. Okay, yeah. So is it kind of like something financial luck? Well, yeah, somewhat something. Okay, yeah. I'm getting almost like a 200 rupees, kind of like somebody getting financial luck probably. And it's not. I don't know. Like basically this is throughout my entire life I realized that luck is never been friend to me. Never. It always been unlucky to me every single time. Like whatever the effort that I do, whatever the kind of like things that I would gonna do, just not work out every single time. And I've been through failure so much amount of time, so much that I just can't even tell you. Every single day is kind of like a fight with this kind of like assembly luck and things and that. Every day I kind of like wake up and failure and things and that. So basically one thing I realized that ki luck has never been my friend. So I just realized that na, ki I just have to do it by myself. Like all the challenges do I face in my life in the future too, I have to do it by myself. It's not kind of like a luck will kind of like help me and things like that. Okay, okay. But another thing is that na ki I would not kind of like simply think that na ki luck is never gonna exist or things like that. Like I think that na okay, regarding about financial thing or regarding about financial luck and things like that, like one thing I realize, okay, like this question kind of like specifically say financial luck. Okay, so financial luck is only kind of like happen when you are earning money with such a thing that you never really expected. And that is the one good thing that has actually happened in my life, like recently actually happened. Okay, so what is actually happened that he couple of months ago I kind of like simply wrote the book Artifact. Okay, like a stuff that I'm kind of like simply talking to right now. These are kind of like simply video that you are kind of like seen on YouTube channel. Okay, I wanted to consume that thing. I wanted to read my Artifact, but how do I supposed to read the Artifact? So I decided that I copy the subtitle. So basically is this thing, like I kind of like mentioned multiple times, but still again I'm gonna tell you. Okay, so basically is this thing na ki first of all is that ki I am kind of like doing this Artifact for almost like a 10 year. Okay, now I'm kind of like doing this Artifact for 10 year and I wanted to listen my Artifact, but it's very hard to consume because try to imagine almost like a 4,000 audio files. Each file average length is almost like a 20 minute. If I started listening all my Artifact, it's not really possible to listen all those Artifact. It's not. So how do I supposed to listen? So instead of listen, I started reading my Artifact. So how do I supposed to read my Artifact? By kind of like a convert Artifact into the book. But how do I supposed to do this thing? So basically this thing, I have kind of like all the audio files. Okay, so I decided that like basically this thing na ki I kind of like assembly that keep figuring out with the storage, because my hard drive is kind of like got corrupted and I'm kind of like assembly very hesitant to kind of like assembly save my Artifact in another hard drive, because I think that na ki I might gonna data will gonna corrupt and things like that, and I don't want to. Okay, so I realized that ki one of the safest way to upload my Artifact on YouTube platform, because it's kind of like assembly save my space. Another thing is that na it will not gonna corrupt or things like that. So I kind of like assembly like upload all my Artifact on YouTube platform. Almost like a 4,000 Artifact I uploaded on YouTube platform. Okay, now after I upload, there is also realized that ki YouTube is actually create automatic subtitle. Okay, so I was like, dude, and I could download that subtitle. So basically is this thing, I download that subtitle. Now I have to convert that subtitle into readable text. I have ChatGPT. So basically I copy that subtitle, put it into ChatGPT, put the prompt, make this kind of like assembly, correct the grammar, arrange the sentence properly, remove the timestamp, convert into the English, make it engaging, things and that. I put the prompt. Okay, and it kind of like refine the text as much as good as possible. And when this kind of like a refined text I started reading, oh my god, I kind of like love this reading. Like basically this thing, it's a kind of like a thing. This is the first time I kind of like experienced that I could supposed to be kind of like a read my Artifact, and when I kind of like see this thing, oh boy, that's a really good thing. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of like creating this Artifact book. Like basically whatever the kind of like a readable text is, kind of like convert ChatGPT, copy that text into the kind of like Google Doc, and after Google Doc, let's make a book. So I kind of like make almost like a 18 book till now, and I also publish 2 books on Amazon Kindle. Why didn't really publish all my books? Well, I will gonna publish. Like basically I have to be read na. Like basically I read first volume, second volume. Okay, third volume I'm kind of like reading it now. Okay, and it will gonna publish within the year, within this month. Okay, so basically this thing I publish. Before that, since I kind of like get this idea, I realized that there are so many stuff that I could supposed to be do this thing, like Bible or kind of like a things. Okay, so I started doing this thing. There is a kind of like somebody one book that I kind of like somebody wanted to read. Okay, The Singularity of Time. Okay, Ray Kurzweil or something like the author. Okay, I kind of like try to find this book, but this book is kind of like available but very expensive, almost like a 4,500 4,000 rupees book. That is kind of like a very expensive. I cannot able to buy that book. Okay, this book is actually about a kind of like a talk about the AI things and how do you supposed to kind of like assembly, how do you supposed to execute, like how do you supposed to kind of like manage the AI, how what kind of like assembly humanity should supposed to be go through and things and that. It kind of like a mention really good thing. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing na ki if I started if I want to read the book, I can't really afford. So I kind of like go to the Google search about that. Is there any kind of like a PDF actually available? Yes, PDF available. So let's just print that PDF, na. Then I kind of then I kind of like decided that wait, I kind of like have PDF. Na, let's started reading right now instead of kind of like a print. Let's just started reading. So I started reading chapter by chapter, and I realized that text is a very much difficult to understand. Why? Because the author is kind of like from the US or Europe, I'm not really sure. And the language that he kind of like mentioned is the English language, yes. But the language is kind of like a very much difficult to understand. Why? Because of that, there is a European accent or maybe American accent are actually kind of like in the book. And I'm from India. My like basically in the book, how is supposed to be kind of like a represent accent, yeah, it is basically it's just in the tone, the word that they use and things like that. Basically it's a very difficult to read for me at least. Okay, yeah. And I'm not really kind of like that good in English. Some of the words are kind of like very difficult. So I decided that I have a PDF. Let's convert into the easy to understand. Okay, yeah. So I copy the kind of like a text, put it into the chat GPT, kind of like put the prompt that make this text easy to understand. ChatGPT kind of like make that easy to understand. And when I read that, that's really good. Oh my boy. The way that I understand things very clearly. Dude, I could make the books, na. So basically, I kind of do this thing. Basically, I was just saying, I copy the chapter 1, put it into ChatGPT, put the prompt, ChatGPT kind of make it easy. I copy this thing, put it in the book. Okay, yeah. And I make the book and I kind of started reading my book. It was really good, really great. It's kind of something the way that this book told me really good, but I didn't really complete the book. Okay, yeah. I just kind of read kind of a couple of almost 50 pages. Okay, there are almost 200 pages of book, but I kind of read 50 pages. Okay, yeah. Then I realized that let's just upload that book on Amazon Kindle. Okay, so I upload that book on Amazon Kindle, publish that book. I never really expected any kind of things let's just I just upload. I basically I don't really knew that it will kind of a blow up and things like that. Basically since this beginning of this year, this book is kind of a blowing off. Till now, in this month, there are almost a 32 copy actually sold. This book. Okay, yeah, Singularity of Time. Okay, yeah. And because of this thing, I earned 3,800 rupees from the Amazon. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? 3,800 rupees. And I think that this is kind of one of the biggest financial luck, because I could earn money from Amazon Kindle. I never really expected that. Literally not. Then why did I kind of upload that book on Amazon? It is because of that somewhere, sometime might be kind of someone will kind of somebody open up and things. And I never really expected that. Basically it's this thing, just okay, have a little bit of presence in social, I have any presence of kind of a book or things like that. So that's why I kind of did the thing. Okay, yeah. And before I kind of published on Amazon Kindle, I was kind of very skeptical regarding about that. Why? Because of that, this material is not mine, na. This book is actually written by this Ray Kurzweil or something like that. Okay, yeah. So how do I supposed to kind of somebody take another material and kind of upload their material, make it easy, and it's not really good thing, na. I feel so I kind of put the disclaimer, basically I kind of somebody is saying that I cannot afford to things and that, so that's why I kind of do this thing, wagera. I kind of put the in the disclaimer this is kind of a book. And also I kind of say this thing that I'm sorry for the author to take your material for this and that. I don't know why I did say something like that, but kind of a kind of somebody is saying that be safe side. Okay, yeah, that I'm kind of somebody. And I also put the author name into the book too. Okay, because I don't want to put the name because it's their material. Okay, so whatever, but that book is kind of like a going almost like a 32 copies actually sold, and it's been almost like I'm because of this thing I'm actually earning almost like a 5,800 rupees on my Amazon Kindle. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? Okay, yeah. And last month I earn 2,800, and January, sorry, last month was, sorry, last month, like, oh yeah, like basically last month almost like a 2,800 rupees. And before that December I didn't earn any kind of like some money, like basically like a beginning of this year. Okay, yeah. Like basically almost like a no, I started earning from December. Yeah, like basically I do know I got the two payment. First payment was almost like a 2,000 rupees. Okay, I didn't really know how where it kind of like a came from. Okay, and then I kind of like I got the mail, I got the royalty from the Amazon Kindle. Then I checked it. Okay, I see the report. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's it. Good. January I kind of like earn almost like a 2,800, and the February, like basically this will kind of like assembly like a couple of days after I will kind of like get the payment. The payment will gonna get almost like a 5,800 rupees, and which is kind of like a blows my mind. Oh my god, what the fuck is this thing? Okay, yeah, like a 2,000, like a 5,800 rupees I'm actually earning from Amazon Kindle. And this is kind of like I think that it's a kind of like a financial luck, but it's not really luck. Like I put the effort. It's not luck that key. Like luck means like kind of like things actually happen that like you don't really expect. Yeah, I didn't really expect this thing, but I put the effort. Nah. Like it's not really that key. I'm not really expecting. I will kind of like expecting the payment might be kind of like somebody 2, 3, or 5 year after I might gonna expect money or things like that. But I'm actually like I put the effort. I am kind of like expecting money maybe later, not like a very quickly. Okay, yeah. So, but somehow I kind of like say this thing that's a kind of like a financial luck and things like that probably, right? Yeah, it would be really good. So regarding about this is kind of like a somebody is this thing that key I am lucky about financial luck. I'm not really sure. Like I don't know. Sometimes I kind of like a believe that I'm lucky. Sometimes luck is never been my best friend. He's always been unlucky for me. I never really understand. I think that na ki all the thing actually happened to you or to us or at least to me is just a kind of like a so many multiple of consequences come together and things happen. That's it. Probably. Okay, it's not kind of like a luck and things and that and that. It's just my opinion regarding about this thing. Whatever, I was supposed to end here. So this is it. And thank you.